Now broadcasting from his hidden bunker and fully stocked bar, it is the Saturday Report with Colt Sebastian Taylor.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor, adventurer, entrepreneur, and amateur house puppy and grandmother sitter. And welcome, like I said, to the Saturday Report, where I'm bringing you the news you may have missed throughout the week, listening here on Anchor.fm or wherever your preferred podcast system is. But before we get started, as always, find me on the social media. You've got the Twitter, the Facebook, the Instagram, at Colt S. Taylor, as well as Cameo, and Counter Social and Threads, all at Colt S. Taylor. And, of course, check out ColtSebastianTaylor.com. And, well, since you're listening here, be sure to subscribe to the show at Anchor.fm/Colt S. Taylor to be alerted when new episodes are posted. All right, my friends, I think we can now get ready and get started with this week's Saturday Report. First up this week, a special treat. I usually do news stories, but it just so happens I am in the area today of one of a loyal listener of the show who, I won't use her real name. She's a very private person, but I just call her the world's greatest grandmother. Hello and welcome to the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor.
Hello, Colt. I'm so happy you're letting me on your show after all this time.
All this time. Now, you folks who listen for quite a while know that every once in a while I get a story sent in to me by the world's greatest grandmother who wants me to cover it, and I figured since she has contributed so much to the show that I should stop by and chat with her today. So how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, and I'm so glad to have you here.
Oh, yes, lots of food. So one of your favorite stories one of two of your favorite stories you always ask me about is the lawyer in South Carolina that was convicted of shooting his wife and son.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So for those who may not remember, this lawyer survived, quote-unquote, an assassination attempt where his wife and son were killed, but they're really coming after him. Why are they going after a lawyer? And then a hitman tried to get him, but turned out he hired the hitman, and then turned out he was the one who killed both of them because earlier in the day, his law firm said, hey, buddy, we're missing like $3 million here, and it seems like you're the guy who stole $3 million. And he's like, oh, let's talk about this later. We'll talk about it tomorrow. And then that night, his family died. They're like, oh, well, we'll figure this out later and whatnot. But, yeah, that's a weird one, right?
That was a weird one, and I wondered about the motive, because how does somebody stand up and shoot their son and their wife in cold blood like that?
Yeah.
Could he do that? Well, there was some other suspicious stuff there.
There was.
Yeah.
Before that, his son, the one I think that got shot, a girl died on a boat with him, and there was somewhat thinking that he was drunk boating, and she died because they crashed the boat. And then years before that, one of their, maids, butlers, she died mysteriously.
She fell down the steps.
She fell down steps.
They
said. So there was a lot going on there.
Well, there was also that boy in the middle of the road that they said didn't really get hit by a car. Remember that?
Yes, that's right. This is why she listens all the time. Then there was someone else associated with the family that said got hit by a car, and I don't know whether they knew who hit him, but it was a hit and run, I think.
They knew him. They knew
him, but they don't know who hit him.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was a hit and run. They think that he might have been behind that also.
Well, they kind of thought maybe it wasn't a hit and run, but they just put the body out there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
remember, the injuries on the body did not necessarily look like a hit and run.
But, yeah, so there's a lot going on with that family. And he's in jail, he's appealed, and they're making a Lifetime movie about it.
Oh, of course.
And Bill Pullman is playing the lawyer.
Poor Bill. I like Bill.
Well, I mean, he's got to work. He's still got to work, so.
I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, He I guess they filmed it in a month, and he had like 7 days to prepare for the role. So he just watched the court case and like got his mannerisms and southern drawl down, and those Lifetime movies pump them out real quick.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yes.
Let me know when it's out.
I think it's out this fall. I will give you a call if you know exactly when it's out.
We'll watch it.
Sure, yeah, we'll watch it and then I'll review it with you.
Good.
Yeah, we'll do that. I'm not expecting a blockbuster, but
I don't know.
you never know.
Oh, it was a national.
It was, but it's still a Lifetime movie.
Yeah,
I mean, so
yeah,
it's yeah. Another story that I got frequent questions about from you was in 2020, Kanye West running for president. You were very interested in what Kanye West was doing running for president under the birthday party. He was running, his political party was the birthday party because America is going to be reborn on its birthday, the birthday party. So came in 8th place.
I know.
8th place, beat out the Constitutional Party, which, not surprisingly. So you're very curious about that just to see, like, how serious he was or if he had a shot. I mean, he obviously did not have a chance.
I was surprised he got as many votes as he did.
Yeah, most of them were in California. It was a big state, too.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I was surprised at how easy you can get onto some ballots in some states.
Yeah.
Like in Colorado, if you get 6 people to sign a piece of paper, you're on the ballot for the $100. In New Hampshire, it's like 100 people. In Oklahoma, it's 50,000 people or a $50,000 check you can pay to get on the ballot.
Well, Colt, why haven't you been on the ballot?
Well, I don't know anyone in Colorado. I don't have $50,000.
I know somebody in Colorado.
Well, we need 5 more people.
Oh, I only know one.
Okay, I don't even, 5 more people and $100 money order, then yes, I could appear on the ballots in Colorado.
I think you do better than Conway.
Probably, I think so, yeah. I mean, I'm definitely have a better beard.
Oh, yeah.
Better beard than Kanye, that's for sure. And he was considered running in 2024, but sadly, he's decided not to.
Oh.
He's focusing on his new album.
Well, tell me, do you think he has a future selling maybe vacuum cleaners door to door?
I mean, he has his music, and people like his music. So unless he sells his rights away, he is pretty much set.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he definitely needs mental health help.
Well, he was hooked up with that family.
Kardashians.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not married to a Kardashian anymore. He divorced.
Oh, that might have been a mistake.
By mistake. He married some other person. I don't even know what.
Male or female?
Female. I know some model.
Oh,
some model that
okay.
It's weird.
Well, I wish him well.
Yeah, sure. I wish he would get back on his medication because he is a lunatic.
A little off center.
Well, he went when he was running in 2024. He went to Mar-a-Lago to meet with Donald Trump.
Oh dear.
He brought 2 far-right extremists with him, including a Holocaust denier, and asked Donald Trump to be his running mate. Like, how?
He was okay right up till then, wasn't he?
Well, no, I mean, you have to be a little loose at the noggin to think that I'm just going to come down to where Donald Trump lives, a man that is so egotistical that always says he does nothing wrong, and ask him to pay number 2 on the ticket. It is just...
Well, that's another big ego there.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy. So, actually, he wasn't... I'll be covering this... I'll just cover it.
Oh,
someone else...
Don't ever lose track of that guy. I want to...
Oh, yeah. No, I'll let you know. Another person dropped out of the Republican primary this year. Larry Elder.
Don't know him.
No one knows who Larry Elder is. Yeah.
I don't even know who what's his name? Mike Johnson is.
Yeah, the Speaker of the House. Yeah. No, he was a radio show host.
Oh, okay.
Who, I guess, thought he could make some money doing this. So, whatever. So he dropped out as well. There's still like 20 people running in the Republican primary, but he dropped out as well.
Well, who do you think that Donald has picked out for a running mate?
That's a good question.
You keep on track of that, Colt.
I had to guess. If I had to guess, it is whoever is in the Republican primary that can do him the most good and also be the most manipulated by him.
And make the most money.
Make the most money. Like, I don't think it'll be Ron DeSantis. Because I don't think if Ron DeSantis can't become the president, he's not going to give up being governor of Florida.
Well, also, he said a few things against Trump, so he...
Yeah, they all do
You
that.
don't do that.
They all do that. But he definitely has a thicker skin. If I had to guess, I would say maybe Nikki Haley.
I'm a Democrat, but if I had to pick somebody that I thought we could get along with, maybe, or we're going to do the country some good, I'd have to lean more towards her than any of them.
I wouldn't be a problem if she was a nominee. If she was a nominee, I would take a serious look at what was going on.
What was going on? Yeah.
I would take a serious look at Chris Christie. I mean, he's from the North, so he's not... I mean, he's despicable, but he's also not insane.
He's out to get Trump. That's
I'm fine with that.
I don't think he cares to be president. Yeah. He just wants to get Trump.
You got Tim Scott. He's probably going to drop out soon because he has no money and he says ridiculous things. And then you have like a whole collection of other people that honestly don't really matter.
Well, I don't think he'll pick Pence again.
No, I don't think so either. Pence wouldn't overturn the election for him, so I think that's a done deal there.
Well, maybe he'll be in jail and can't run.
Well, see what happens. It's got a lot going on. We'll see what happens. Well, greatest grandmother, I do have to get going here, but before I go, just so I can properly put the dozens, if not hundreds, of staff members underneath my massive media empire door, what are the type of stories you like to hear on here? So I can, because I feel like you're the demographic I'm aiming for. People like to stay up to date with the news, but like they watch the news all the time, so they might miss some stories. What are the type of stories you like me to cover?
Oh, I like all of your stories, Colt, but mysteries, anything.
Mysteries, okay.
And you've had some pretty good over the years here. Strange happenings.
Okay.
And I always am interested in that.
You know what? I'm going to do a story today, which you'll have to listen when it gets published. Have you ever heard of fried rice syndrome?
No.
Yeah. It could be deadly.
Oh, my God.
Do you have any...
I've been eating it. Those, what do you call those? Hibachi?
Yeah.
Yeah, they always.
Yes.
It's delicious.
It's delicious. It's worth the risk. I mean, you're like late 80s. I mean, you might as well risk it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's very specific. You just.
Okay. Yeah. I'm anxious to hear
that.
Yes.
It's fried. It's called fried rice syndrome.
Yeah.
It's not usually, but it can be deadly.
Yeah. And anything strange that happens, like somebody digs up an old fossil or something like that.
Okay.
Or, anything unusual. And you've really had some good ones over the years.
Okay. Well, I will be sure to put that on the list. And and after this interview is done, the next story after it, the next segment will be the fried rice syndrome. So when you're listening tomorrow, stick around, because right after this, I will cover fried rice syndrome.
Well, I'm going out right now and throw away all my rice.
No, you don't.
Well, I can live without.
No, you don't need to throw out the rice. All right,
just don't fry it.
Don't we? Are you playing any rice-related things today?
No.
Okay, then don't throw out any rice until you listen to the show tomorrow, and you'll understand what I'm talking about.
I was going to give you Spanish rice for dinner today, but I think I'll switch that to something.
Okay.
I wouldn't want anything to happen.
Okay. All right. But don't throw any rice away. Listen to the story first before you make any pantry decisions.
Okay. I'll wait a while.
I mean, how often do you have fried rice?
Pardon?
How often do you have fried rice?
Oh.
I feel like not often.
Whenever somebody takes me out to hibachi.
Hibachi.
Hint, hint, hint.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll take you out to hibachi soon.
No, I don't want to try.
Well, not until you listen to the story.
Just forget about it.
Oh, yeah. All right. Listen. All right. Listen to the story, and you'll understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
Here.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll
All
do
right.
it.
So, once again, World's Greatest Grandmother, thank you for joining me here today on the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor.
I love you, Colt.
I love you too. As I just mentioned in the previous interview, thank you once again for joining me, Greatest Grandmother. Fried rice syndrome. This is back in the news. And first and foremost, if you're listening, you do not need to throw out all your rice right now. Okay, that's not how that works. Fried rice syndrome occurs mostly, it's a type of food poisoning, when you leave food out for extended periods of time, okay? It is a bacteria, it's a very common bacteria that grows on food, and this story has resurfaced on TikTok lately. A story from 2019, which I may have actually covered now that I'm thinking about it. I'll have to go back in the archives. But a 20-year-old man, I believe I did cover this. I did. No, wait, it's 2019. I wasn't doing a show then. Anyways, a story like this has happened before. A 20-year-old man died after eating 5-day-old pasta, okay? How that could happen? We all have leftovers, but it's a type of bacteria called Bacillus cereum bacterium, and according to a doctor, quote, the bacteria is commonly found in foods that have been sitting in room temperature for extended periods. In dishes like fried rice, the bacteria can produce toxins as the food cools down, leading to symptoms like vomiting, diarrhea, and abdominal cramps. The dying from this is rare, but not unheard of. If you get fried rice syndrome, you'll start feeling awful after a few hours, and then you can be sick for up to 24 hours. It's basically just really bad food poisoning. So the question is, why do they call it fried rice syndrome? Well, it often happens with fried rice. Now, not just fried rice. It's about rice as a starch. And this bacteria will leave a toxin in starchy foods as it cools down. So you fry rice, it's real warm, you leave it out for a few hours. As it cools down, this bacteria begins to grow in a warm, moist environment and leaves toxins behind, okay? So it can happen with any type of starch, but since fried rice is a common leftover thing that people like to make, save, and then eat again, that's how it got its name, fried rice syndrome. Now, it doesn't even have to be rice. It can be wheat. It can be veggie noodles. They just need to be stored properly if you're going to eat it again, okay? Now, this bacteria grows best between 39 degrees and 118 degrees Fahrenheit, okay? So, leaving it out at room temperature is like the sweet spot for where this begins to grow, okay? You should, according to the FDA and the U.S. Department of Agriculture, says you should avoid eating prepared foods. So, like raw rice, it's different. They're like prepared foods that have been left out at room temperature for over 2 hours, and in temperatures above 90 degrees Fahrenheit, only 1 hour. Okay, so if you leave out a plate of fried rice for 8 hours, you could get into trouble with it because you could get this fried rice syndrome. Like I said, it's not just rice. Any starch, any sort of noodle can have the same effect, okay? So, if you make prepared foods and you want leftovers, which is something we all do, put it in the fridge. You should not leave it out. You could get fried rice syndrome, okay? I know a lot of people like to leave pizza out and eat pizza the next day, but again, you could get food poisoning. You should always wrap things up, put it in the fridge, keep it cool, and you'll avoid food poisoning. So, hopefully, World's Greatest Grandmother has not thrown out all the rice in her pantry. Again, you don't need to throw it out. Just store that rice in a cool, dark place, And then when you fry rice, or if you go to hibachi and you get fried rice take home, like a leftovers, then just put it right in the fridge. Don't leave it in the car for a few days and have it as a snack later. All right, so that's the story about fried rice syndrome. Okay, all right, good. Moving along to 2024 election coverage. As I mentioned, Larry Elder, running for the GOP nomination, dropped out this week and wholeheartedly endorsed Donald Trump, probably to get him on his radio show. But a new Democratic challenger entered the race this week, Dean Phillips. Now, you're probably asking yourself, who is Dean Phillips? And I said the same thing. I had no idea who he was. Well, he is a U.S. rep from Minnesota, representing the 3rd District in Minnesota, and he announced this week that he will be joining the Democratic primary to run for president. He said in an interview, quote, I will not sit still. I will not be quiet in the face of numbers that are so clearly saying we're going to be facing an emergency next November. As a Democrat, I adore Joe Biden. He saved this country. He can cement his legacy. My real call to action right now is not about me. The call to action is to ask the president to pass the torch. Enter the primary, my friends. Everybody who is on the bench, meet the moment. We don't have 5 years. We need you now. So he is running for president, I guess. Very much a long shot bid. I don't know what. I think he's trying to make some money. I don't know. I'm not super impressed by him. According to the White House, the press secretary would not comment on his entry of the race, but they did thank him for his almost 100% support of Joe Biden. He was in the House Democratic leadership position at the beginning of October, where he stepped down, saying he felt appropriate to move aside to avoid distractions because his convictions relative to the 2024 presidential race are incongruent with the majority of my caucus. He is also the member of the Problem Solvers Caucus, a group of bipartisan group lawmakers that aim to work across the aisle. Before he was in Congress, he worked for many different small startups and led the family business and helped build the gelato business, according to his biography. He was first elected in 2018, flipping a seat, beating Eric Paulson 55-44 in the election. According to Ron Harris, a member of the Democratic National Committee, he is going to be primarying him next year to his congressional seat. Quote, our community deserves strong, effective Democratic leadership ready to stand with President Biden and deliver for working families. So he enters the Democratic primary. There are other people officially running to be the Democratic nominee for president in 2024. Obviously, Joe Biden. There is Marie Williamson, who ran in 2020. It is like a mystic, I guess. I don't know. She wants to use good vibes to help the world. Also, technically running, Teresa Bokovich, founder of Pro-Life San Francisco and progressive anti-abortion uprising, and former president of Democrats for Life of America. Anti-abortion. Joe Exotic of the Tiger King fame also ran for independent candidate in 2016, and he is, of course, in jail. Cenk Uygur, the creator of the Young Turks and co-founder of Justice Democrats, and was the Democratic candidate for the 25th Congressional District in 2020. I will give you a quick update on how that went for him. He lost. Did not win. And then you may remember that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was running, but he withdrew earlier this month and is running as an independent. Pretty crazy. He might have a chance to get on TV. Yeah. Also, speaking of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., apparently someone broke into his property this week, Police arrested him, released him, and they tried to break it again, and he's demanding Secret Service protection since he considers himself a legitimate candidate for president. Won't get it, but he may, if he's going to raise some money, may he raise some money to have someone sit outside of his house. Also pending decision for the Democratic primary in late 2023, Senator Joe Manchin, because he just decided he wants to be more and more of a weirdo. So he is currently running. Now, speaking, since we're on 2024 elections, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, Larry Elder dropped out from running, but there are still lots of people running for president for the Republican. Of course, you have Donald Trump currently in the lead. Tim Scott probably dropping out soon. Vivek Ramaswamy, weirdo. Mike Pence still running. Asa Hutchinson, Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis, Chris Christie, Doug Burgum, and Ryan Brinkley. Huh. I didn't know he was running. They are all still technically running. Other people who are technically running, John Anthony Castro, a perennial candidate, and E.W. Jackson, pastor and nominee for the Lieutenant Governor of Virginia in 2013. Now, besides Larry Elder dropping out, also Perry Johnson, who again, he looks like the Crypt Keeper. I'm not sure about him. He was a disqualified candidate for Michigan in 2022. Corey Stapleton dropped out in the last few weeks, as well as William Hurd, and then Francis Suarez dropped out in August. So actually, in October of this month, we had 4 Republican candidates drop out. William Hurd, who endorsed Nikki Haley. Corey Stapleton, which he was the Montana Secretary of State. I don't know why he thought he had a chance. Hasn't endorsed anyone. And then Perry Johnson and Larry Elder both dropped out this past week and endorsed Donald Trump. So that's your update, my friends. No one else has jumped in yet. There's some other people who may jump in, including John Bolton, Rick Perry, and Glenn Youngkin, but they have not officially jumped in yet. So, but at the top of both opinion polling, Donald Trump is at the far and wide ahead of everyone else, and Joe Biden is very much ahead of everyone else in his primary. So it is at this point shaping up to be a 2020 rematch in 2024. Speaking of presidents, George W. Bush is back, not in any sort of political way, but he is throwing out the first pitch on the World Series opener, I guess, Friday night. I guess that starts tonight. That starts yesterday. So yes, George W. Bush is throwing out the first pitch at the Arizona Diamondbacks versus the Texas Rangers. Unfortunately, the Philadelphia Phillies lost in 7 games against the Diamondbacks, so it's the Rangers versus the Diamondbacks, which has been jokingly said is the a boring World Series. So I don't think I'm going to watch it. But fun fact, this is the fourth time that George W. Bush has thrown out a ceremonial first pitch. He is currently 77, but he threw out. He headed a group that bought the Rangers from Eddie Chili's in 1989 and was the general partner through 1994 before he left to become the Texas governor in Texas. When he was president between 2001 and 2009, he threw out the first pitch of Game 3 of the World Series in Yankee Stadium in New York, between New York and Arizona. He was wearing a bulletproof vest underneath his coat. When he was warming up, Derek Jeter told him, "Don't bounce it, or they'll boo you." He threw out ceremonial first pitches with his father, George H.W. Bush, in Game 4 of the 2010 World Series in Texas, and then Game 5 of the 2017 World Series in Houston, and now he is doing it for the fourth time during this game with the Rangers. So because he's from Texas, so he's Texas related. So I don't need to look this up. I feel like that's the most time a president has ever thrown out the first pitch of a World Series. I'm just guessing. George W. Bush's group sold the Rangers to Thomas Hicks in 1998, and then he sold the team to the current ownership in 2010, headed by Ray Davis. So, anyways, if you watched the World Series last night, you would have seen George W. Bush throw out the first pitch for the fourth time at a World Series. There's some trivia for you. My friends, let me tell you something. If you are a nerd, then you need to check out a Discord channel called the Nerd Herd. Why would you want to join them? Who are they? Well, they're nerds. And what do? Nerdy things. So they have weekly games, monthly gatherings, and if you're looking for a place where you can meet some people and nerd out, that is the place to go. They've been around for a few years, have some amazing people there, and have built a very fun community of adults. So if you're over 21, that might be the place for you. So check it out. You can also Google them. But if you go to the post of this broadcast, I will have a direct Discord link to the Nerd Herd. Check them out. I think you'll enjoy them. Tell them that Colt Sebastian Taylor sent you. And also, my friends, they got lots of stuff there. So like VR gaming, D&D, it's fun. Check it out. You meet some really fun people from all over the world at the Nerd Herd. Next, my friends, we go to space, to Jupiter, where satellites from the Juno mission captured the storming clouds of Jupiter, who began to form a ghoulish face this week, just in time for Halloween. I'm looking at the picture right now, and basically it's two dark clouds that looks like eyes, a sort of warbly cloud looks like a mouth, and there looks like there's a nose there, so it looks like a big, giant face that's probably, if I have my scales of Jupiter right, about several times bigger than Earth. It's this huge, huge storm, and Jupiter, well known for its storms, its swirling storms, the great spot. We've all attended science classes and whatnot. But the images, according to NASA, appeared in the far northern regions known as Jet N7, and it shows turbulent clouds and storms along Jupiter's terminator, the dividing line between day and night on the sides of the massive planets. Quote in the statement, the low angle of sunlight highlights the complex topography of features in the region, which scientists have studied to better understand the processes playing out in Jupiter's atmosphere. The face remained unnoticed until citizen scientist Vladimir Tarasov created the image using raw data from the Juno CAM instrument. The phenomenon of observers piercing faces on other patterns and ambiguous objects, or largely random patterns known as pareidolia. So that's when you look at something and you see a face in it. It's called pareidolia. I'm saying it wrong. But anyways, according to a social media post shared by NASA, the space agency likened it to a cubist portrait, which is a style of art, which is actually what Pablo Picasso did. Quote, we present to the NASA solar exploration image to you on October 25th, what would have been Picasso's 142nd birthday, and it triggered a lot of interesting reactions in the comment of the post. One person said, so Jupiter going to Squidward as Halloween. Got it. Another person said, our brains are so good at facial recognition, maybe a little too good. Someone else wrote, it looks like Sylvester Stallone. And then someone else said, awesome example of the universe being a master sculptor of the mysterious. Anyways, the Juno spacecraft that is currently watching Jupiter was launched in 2011 and is studying the solar system's largest planet. The Juno is slated to continue its investigation through September 2025, or until the spacecraft finally breaks down and no longer broadcasts from that position. But 2011, it's been there for over 10 years taking pictures of Jupiter. That's a pretty well put together spacecraft, if you ask me. Moving along, my friends, we now go to Washington State, to the Penn Oriole River near the Canadian border, where members of the Washington Department Fish and Wildlife Police, the Penn Orange County Detective, and a Border Patrol agent responded to reports of a boater seeing human remains in the river, which, it's not uncommon to find human remains in bodies of water. Happens all the time. So these detectives and authorities went to the river and began looking around to see what was going on. The officers used jet skis to go to this entrance of this cave where this was reported to see human remains, swam inside, and they did a thorough investigation of this cave. And they discovered something resting at the bottom that looked like a skull. Like, oh, well, this looks like this could be it. So they borrowed some goggles, went underneath, but it wasn't actually human remains. It was plastic. They encountered a plastic skull-shaped beer bong. Yes, they found a beer bong that someone had left behind, designed to look like a skull and spine, and they retrieved it. And apparently, the beer bong had been intentionally filled with rocks to create the illusion of it was a submerged skeleton. It became evident that this had been strategically placed in the water as an elaborate trick. However, whoever did this probably didn't think all these people would be called, because it really alarmed authorities, and they sent out a lot of people to check out what was going on. So, according to a post on Instagram from the police department, shows this diver holding this skull beer bong, which is honestly pretty funny. But he posted, and this was a few days ago. It says, "Trick or treat, WDFW Officer Erickson, a Penn Ori detective and border agent, responded to a call of human remains located in a cave. The reporting party reported finding the remains while paddleboarding inside the cave on the Penn Oriole River near the Canadian border. Officer Erickson and the detective took jet skis to the cave entrance, swam inside. What appeared to be a skull could be seen in the bottom of the cave. So Officer Erickson dove down to get a closer look with goggles some boaters had lent them. The remains ended up being a plastic beer bong, someone apparently stuffed with rocks and sunk to the bottom to prank people. Little do they know, their trick worked, maybe too well. So fortunately, no one dead, no human remains. Someone just got a Halloween-themed beer bong, which for those who may not drink beer, a beer bong is basically a big funnel. You stick one end in your mouth, someone dumps the beer on the top, and you have to drink all of it or it's going to get all over your face. So, not my thing personally, but I hear it's popular. But anyways, a Halloween prank gone awry. Fortunately, no one hurt. So folks, if you have, don't bury things in waters that look like skeletons. Otherwise, the police may eventually just show up. Now turning to a bit more tragic news, a 40-year-old garbage man in the Mexican state of San Luis Potosi lost his life this week after being shot by a loaded gun that had been thrown away in a plastic garbage bag. Crazy, right? So this guy, on October 16th, near the Riva Verde Town Hall, was picking up garbage, threw garbage into the back of a trash truck, and the gun went off. And he was struck by it, and it killed him. It struck him. They called emergency services, but they couldn't get him to the hospital fast enough before he passed away from his wounds. According to the local newspaper, the man's cause of death was a bullet fired from a loaded gun discarded into one of the garbage bags he was collecting. Experts believe the gun's trigger was accidentally pushed when the garbage bag was thrown in the truck. but unfortunately the barrel was pointed directly at the garbage man. Authorities are still investigating the case and hoping to track down the gun's owner and bring them to justice for disposing of it so irresponsible. Like, it's one thing to throw a gun away, but throwing a loaded gun into the garbage is really irresponsible. Just goes to show you how dangerous it can be down there, where guns are going off in trash cans and hitting garbage men in Mexico. Really, really terrible stuff. So, friends, if you want to discard of a gun, don't throw it into the trash. Assuming you're not a criminal, and I'm going to take a guess that 99% of the folks who listen to this podcast are not wanted criminals. You can hand guns over to any number of places to get destroyed properly and not have it hurt anyone else. If you are a criminal and I gotta get rid of this gun, trash is not the place to do it, okay? Or if you're going to throw it in the trash, unload it. Because I tell you what, a good way for someone to find a gun used in a crime is having it go off and shoot a garbage man. Police will generally try to figure out where that came from, and now it's in a trash truck. So, not the best idea. Not the best idea. Well, my friends, that just about wraps up this week's Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor. Thank you so much for joining me this week. Special, again, thanks, shout out to World's Greatest Grandmother for popping on by and talking some news with me for a bit. And don't forget to check out the Nerd Herd Discord link in the post below. And of course, if you need a great social media management system, check out SocialBee. It is the social media management tool that enables posting across all of your profiles, including the Facebook, the Twitter, the LinkedIn, the Instagram, the Pinterest, Google My Business, and TikTok. Is integrated with Canva, Unsplash, Giftly to make those posts pop. You can structure your content into categories. You can connect an RSS feed of any blog, have it imported automatically. You can customize posts for each social media network individually. Automatically generate hashtags, which I do. Recycle posts, set up a posting schedule, track your link performances with over 5 URL shortener integrations, analyze the performance of your accounts, and also recently, still in beta, you can look at responses and stuff and engagements on your social media platforms from SocialBee itself. So check out socialbee.io, 14 days for free, and no password needed. Just tell them that Colt Sebastian Taylor sent you. You'll have to. You'll still get it for free for 14 days. But it'll be funny if that gets back to me. Alright, my friends, until next time, I am, of course, your friend, Colt Sebastian Taylor, and I'll see you later.